The Scooby-Doo was my favorite cartoon growing up, hands down. I would watch every single episode that came out. I watched both movies countless times. I even had those special movie episodes on DVD, and I stand the hell out of Fred and Daphne, but then again, who wouldn't? What is up, you guys? Hope you're having an awesome day. I'm your host, Eamon Hassan, and welcome back to another video. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? You got some work to do now. I just had to put that in there, you know what I mean? I just had to. You guys know me, I love doing my a cappella versions of everything. But before I get into the video, you guys, we are doing a $1,000 giveaway. The plan was to give out $5,000 and we've already given away $2,750. All you have to do for a chance to win is follow Landon and Most Amazing Top 10 on Instagram, tell us what you'd spend the money on, and tag 3 friends. But it ends on the 29th, so get on it. With that good news off my chest, these are the top 10 scary Scooby-Doo urban legends. Starting us off at number 10 is the runaway Soviet space dog. Now, one fan theory on Reddit claims that Scooby-Doo is actually a Soviet space dog. The show was set in the 60s, where the space race between the US and Soviet Union was at its peak. Both countries wanted so badly to be the first ones achieving any space-related feat, and I mean, the Soviets put a dog on a rocket already and shot it into space, so what's to say that Scooby-Doo wasn't one of those Soviet dogs? The theory goes on to say Scooby could have run away from the Soviets' classified space dog program. The program most likely bred highly intelligent puppies that could understand radio commands and operate satellites, but Scooby was a rare one since he could talk. One of the scientists working in the program got super attached to Scooby, and knowing he would die if he was sent to space, decided to defect to the US and take Scooby with him. After the scientist died, Scooby found a new home with the gang, but it makes sense that the show is always like Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? Because the Soviets are still looking for their star pup. Coming in at number 9 is the Scooby Draft. I truly believe Scooby-Doo will go down as one of the best cartoons in cartoon history, like hands down. And also, unpopular opinion, but Scooby himself was my least favorite character, and I'm not afraid to admit that. Come for me. Anyway, this theory explores the fact that we never get told why a group of teenagers and a dog are traveling around the country in a van. The producers were probably like, don't worry about it, no one's gonna care, and everyone's like, hello? Either way, this theory claims that because the show premiered in 1969 and the Vietnam War was at its peak at that time, the gang was actually driving to Canada to avoid being drafted. The theory goes on to say that Fred was drafted, but since he had all the mystery-solving skills and zero combative skills, he knew he'd most likely die on the field, so he decided to run away with his fiancée, Daphne. Since Velma is an activist for the war to stop, she went along with them as well, and Shaggy is clearly a hippie who's not going to go to war anytime soon, so he joined the gang as well. At number 8, we have the Cult. I never thought I would see the day when people thought the gang, the OG mystery gang that captured our hearts, was a cult. Let's break it down. We obviously have the handsome frontman Fred, Velma the brainy one, Daphne the pretty fashionable one that is low-key brainwashed by Fred, and Shaggy who has conversations with the dog. I mean, they could be an interesting group of friends, or they could be a cult. Fred is obviously the cult leader that recruits groupies like Daphne who will blindly follow him off a cliff if they have to. The group needs Velma since she's a genius, making her a huge asset. Shaggy is most likely addicted to some kind of drug that makes him think he can talk to dogs, but it also makes him the one that's most likely to do the group's dirty work in order to get his next fix. Filling at number 7 slot is Scooby-Dooby Depression. Aside from their slang, all the flowers on the mystery machine, and even the gang's clothing, you can tell the show was set in the 60s. And the theory claims that it was set during one of the worst economic depressions ever. And if you think about it long enough, it really makes sense. In the show, everything is either falling apart or abandoned, hotels are empty, and theme parks are ruined. Every villain they catch is actually someone who would normally be quite respected, like a teacher or historian or scientist, but they've just fallen on hard times and have turned to petty crime in this dark period of life. And no, I definitely did not forget about the gang. You'd think they were just hippies out looking for adventure, but really they're in like their late teens, early 20s, not interested in getting proper jobs. They move around all the time because there are no jobs available no matter where they go. They wear the same clothes every day. Do they shower or pay for petrol? No one really knows. In conclusion, they're unemployed hobos that accept petrol and food for helping those around them. Knife in my heart. Now, at number 6 are Scooby snacks. I'm pretty sure if Scooby-Doo was given an ultimatum of 40 boxes of Scooby snacks on one side or saving his entire gang, he would choose the former. He just loves them way too much. Well, according to this theory, the treat can alter your genetic code, which explains why Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Dum, and Scrappy-Doo can not only talk, but perform stunts that are utterly ridiculous. As for humans, the only person eating the snacks is Shaggy, and the only effect we seem to see that it has is boosting his metabolism tenfold. He can literally eat down those mile-high sandwiches and still be skinnier than every Insta-ho out there. Make it make sense. Is he on that fit tea, skinny tea vibe? Who knows? He's just on that Scooby snack vibe. Coming in at number 5 are the real heroes. In every episode without fail, when things start going to shit and getting scary, Scooby and Shaggy are always the ones to run away. And then somehow, in an accidental fashion, they end up being the ones capturing the villain in the end through no intention of their own. But according to this fan theory, Shaggy and Scooby are both actors who pretend to be terrified of monsters and ghosts. They're faking all of it in order to draw the monsters out because they want to be seen as easy targets. That way the gang can trap the villain since they'll be too busy seeking out the other two. And all this makes so much sense. That's literally why Fred always pairs Shaggy and Scooby up together when they split up. Why would these two even be in the gang if they were genuinely that terrified of these monsters? And how, after years of investigating, would they still be scared shitless? Because they're actors. That's what we do. At number 4 is the designated driver. Yes, we've all felt the tragedy on a night out when you're the DD and all your friends are getting drunk, having fun, and you're just there twiddling your thumbs and making conversation with a plate of fries in front of you. Shocking. Now in the show, Fred is always the de facto driver, but just look at him. This preppy, clean-shaven kid would not own a lime green van covered in flowers, meaning the van isn't his. It belongs to a hippie, most likely Shaggy, and as many theories point out, Shaggy is a pothead. So either Shaggy lost his license for driving under the influence, or Fred is worried he'll make the gang crash, so he never lets him drive. Yes, never drive and smoke, people. Never drive and smoke. No matter how much of a functional stoner you are, don't do it. Filling on number 3 slot is the Captain America link. Who the hell would have thought that Scooby-Doo would have any link to Marvel whatsoever? But I mean, you learn something new every day, don't you? Now this theory shares that Shaggy's real name is Norval Rogers and Captain America's name is Steve Rogers, so right now the two share the same last name. In the movie Captain America the Winter Soldier, Falcon is out on a morning run when he claims that Steve can run 13 miles in 30 minutes. If you do the maths, that's around 26 miles per hour. Now if we go back to Scooby-Doo, we see that Shaggy can almost always keep pace with Scooby when they're running. Scooby's a Great Dane, and those breeds can run up to 30 miles per hour, meaning Shaggy runs at superhuman speed for a supposed pothead. So it could be quite possible that he is in fact Captain America's son. Now at number 2 is the love affair. You guys are lying if you say that Fred and Daphne were not your original OTP, and if you're unaware, OTP means one true pairing, the two characters that were truly meant to be together, your favorite duo in a fandom, if you will. Now we know these two are together, the show implies it way too many times. Shaggy is clearly too obsessed with Scooby to think about a romance, that bromance is enough for him, and that leaves sweet Velma. This theory claims that Velma was actually a closeted lesbian who had been in love with Daphne from the minute she saw her, but she could never say anything to her because she knew she loved Fred and the feelings would not be reciprocated and it would tear the gang apart. So instead she just lived with the fact that she could never get the woman she loved. Velma could have easily left the gang, but that would have meant not seeing Daphne ever again, and that's something she couldn't cope with. My heart will go on. What would their stand name be? Vaphne? Delma? It's not feeling nice in my mouth. And finally, at number 1 is Scrappy-Doo. It doesn't matter which episode it was, Scrappy-Doo always annoyed the shit out of me. How can something be so small and filled with testosterone and be that annoying? Actually, it's quite possible. I've met my fair share of guys who are like that. Lol. Now, either way, this theory claims that the gang wasn't fond of Scrappy either. He was arrogant and conceited, and they eventually left him behind. After they ditch him, he isn't seen for years because he's busy trying to figure out how to gain revenge on the gang for casting him away. By 2002, Scrappy makes a mechanical version of Emil, the owner of Spooky Island, and impersonates him in order to get Scooby's protoplasm. But his plan is foiled by those meddling kids and he's sent to jail, but that is not the end of Scrappy-Doo, my folks. He ends up escaping and creates clones of Scooby and the whole gang and sends them to kill the OG gang and take over their lives. They succeed and somehow no one notices that they're not the original crew. And that is it for today's video, guys. Oh, I miss Scooby-Doo so much. I feel like I may watch both movies tonight. I feel like that is the flex going forward. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. As always, I'm your host, Eamon Hassan, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.